Aaron, what did you make of that game, and how are you feeling after that last-minute ecstasy winner?
I feel like I played the game because I am exhausted.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm always one of those, like, I scream, I yell, I'm cussing at the TV screen. And luckily my roommate went away for the weekend, so I wasn't annoying him. But I didn't think we were gonna get a late winner. It didn't look like we were going to. It just seemed like Brian was just having possession all the time, and that we were lucky if we were gonna get a tie. But I was ecstatic after we scored that. I personally do not like Richarlison. I think the only thing he can do is shoot. Every time, especially in the first half, every time he received the ball, decision making was wrong. His passes were weak, slow-minded, didn't know what he wanted to do with it, and cost us a lot of goals. I would think, because if Son had that ball, those balls are being played faster. The decisions are going to be made there, and it was a 2-inch pass away is going to actually get there. There were lots of chances in the first half where it could have led to easy goal-scoring opportunities. I think Werner had a pretty weak game as well, overall. Johnson, I like Johnson when he came on. He's fast, he's aggressive, and his spatial awareness is great. We've seen it twice now in the last few weeks where he's just there where we need him to be, where maybe some other wingers don't really know where they need to be. But yeah, it's one of those games where I don't think we played great, but I don't care because we won. It was one of those games where I don't care how we win as long as we needed this 3 points. We couldn't play the game like we did the last time we played them. And I think the players weren't playing the Ange way a lot of the game. We didn't come out in the first half aggressive like we usually do. And that's something they definitely need to work on for Wolves next time. That is going to be, they need to definitely attack, press high, because Wolves will just, if we play a low block, like it seemed like we were doing most of the game, Wolves are just going to eat us all up.
It's interesting you said about Richarlison and Son and how much better Son would be in the 9 position. The problem we have now that Son's back, is if we do play Son in that 9 position, who are we going to play in the left? Do we stay with Werner, or do we let Richarlison go back out there? Because using that winner as an example, right. I feel pretty sure that I don't feel overly confident that in that pressure moment in the 96th minute that Werner would have found that cross.
Well, he scored.
He did do it a few weeks ago.
Not scored, sorry.
He did do it a few weeks ago, but this is literally a pressure moment, 96th minute.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you know what I mean? That's a real elite mentality, top class player thing to be able to put that on a plate for Johnson. And so for now, I think I'm happier keeping Richarlison because I think Son will make chances for Richarlison. But it is an interesting argument, and also, it brings up that question again of whether in the summer we will be looking to buy a striker or not.
I honestly would go Kulu on the left and Johnson on the right. I know it's very unlikely, or if you must, put Johnson back on the left and put Kulu on the right. I think that we should go back to what was our best attack during the
Johnson's
first 10
been
games.
poor whenever he's played on the left, to be honest. I don't think he has the belief out there, really.
Fair enough, but, he had some good moments against Arsenal. He had some good early season moments.
When Richarlison played on the left, he made... Do you remember the assist for Son against Liverpool?
Yeah,
outside of his boot.
Agreed.
He did okay out there. And his pressing in the 9, though, is incredible, and I like that side of him for sure.
And they can interchange, I suppose, Son and...
Aaron, do you think we'll be looking to bring in another striker to threaten Richarlison's place in the summer?
I can only hope so. I want us to. I definitely think we need, because I think Son out on the wing is actually really good for us because he can actually make those crosses into the box. Like, I know if Richarlison was on that left side trying to pass the ball and it's not going anywhere.
No.
I know Werner, and I agree. If Werner, I know he did it a few weeks ago, but this is a much harder pass to make. There was a lot more pressure. It needed to be spot on, and you need a top class player like Son to do that. And,
did you guys hear what Ange said about it, by the way?
No, what does Ange say?
Ange said that was a world-class moment from a world-class player and a world-class pass. Okay. So everything you're saying is what Ange said, basically. And he said it's so important to have Sonny back. But sorry, carry on, Aaron.
Ange knows ball. Aaron, actually, I was just going to say, so who else kind of impressed you in today's game? Who kind of stood out?
I think Sar was pretty solid. I think Romero was, as a lot of people said, was solid in the back. I don't think our fullbacks were where they needed to be
Yeah.
today. Poro and Udogi. Udogi's been kind of off the last couple weeks anyway. He was the reason why that Brentford game was as stressful as it was in that second half with that poor giveaway.
Yeah.
And Pedro Porro, he has speed. He can defend, but I just think today he wasn't on top of that. Maybe because in the second half he looked like he was struggling there for good 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I thought he actually dealt with Matoma defensively pretty well, but he wasn't much of a threat going forward. I didn't feel.
Yeah,
Right,
agreed.
yeah.
But I do think he had a injury, didn't he? Like Aaron said, there was something going on.
I
there.
hope not, because I don't want to see Emerson Royal starting against Wolves. No offense, I love
Oh,
him.
God, I
I
hope
love
not.
his vibes. I love his vibes, but I
Yeah.
don't want to see
Right.
him. I don't
Emma
want to see him
Goat.
playing.
We can't deal with another injury again.
No, we're just getting our injuries back. And so, Aaron, in talking about hoping that we buy another striker, do you have any names in mind of players that you would like to see Tottenham going for?
Ooh.
Like, would you go? For
I
Ivan
think of
Toney,
any
for
off the
instance?
top of my head.
Would you go for Ivan
but-
Toney at Brentford, for instance, because he's going to be available?
Yeah, I would definitely look at it. Especially if they can sell it at the right price. He's not a player I would overpay for. If it gets to the point where he's costing too much, I'd probably just go for someone who's more world class. But I think we definitely need someone who has speed, is technical, can actually help in the build up play as well. Because with every time Richarlison's up front, he's useless in the build up. He's absolutely useless. The only thing, like I said, the only thing he can do is shoot or head the ball into the net. But every time he passes the ball or is trying to move off the ball, it's sometimes it's horrific to watch. And we need someone who's like technical as Son, but has like the speed of Johnson or even Van de Ven. Like
describing the perfect
someone who
player,
can like
Aaron.
exactly. But also someone who we can like. Kind of like what we did with Dragushin, where young, we can get him for a good price, and who should become a really good player. Instead of someone who's older, but we're only going to have for like maybe a couple years or so. So I think Tony is definitely it's definitely one we should definitely look at, and maybe a few others that may pop up here or there that we notice.
We found ourselves shouting quite a lot at Pierre-Emile Højbjerg when he came on the pitch today. I wondered what you thought of his performance after he was brought
on. I didn't even agree with him coming on in the first place. I thought it was I don't think he's been good in the last few weeks. I don't think he was great today. He's slow, he's weak on the ball. It's just not someone we really I think he's more weak-minded than anything, because he definitely has the body strength to like nudge players off the ball, but he's just I think he's very weak-minded and very similar to Richarlison, very slow to make decisions. But I think for today, I don't think I really noticed him that much. I don't think he benefited. I don't think he terribly hurt us too much, but I don't think he benefited us at all. He was just kind of just there. I wouldn't even know that he was playing. I think that's how we did today.
Yeah, I want to bring up just one more thing before I let you go, Aaron, because it's been talked about in the comments a fair bit. Brennan Johnson didn't really celebrate when he scored, and there seemed to be a little bit of anger there, and there's some discussion around whether that's because of the abuse he's been getting from various corners of the Spurs fan base. Obviously, there was an Instagram post he did a few weeks ago where he turned the comments off, which is a bit of a telltale sign.
Yeah.
What are your feelings overall, Aaron, and you, Josh, as well, on the kind of reactive nature of Tottenham fans or football fans these days, and kind of abusing players in public? And and when I say abuse, I don't mean constructive criticism about something you could have done better on the football pitch that day. I mean like literally DMing people and tagging people and abusing them and saying that they should death threats and get out of our club and stuff like that.
I'll let Aaron go first.
Yes. I think like I can't even say that's a passionate thing. That's just a ridiculous. Like no one should do that. I don't care if you're rivals with someone. You just don't. There are certain things you just don't say. And Johnson's young. Like with this whole young generation, that it can affect the hell out of you so much that, I mean, it gets to the point where you don't even want to show up to practice. You don't want to show up to games. Growing up playing soccer since I was 4, it happened a lot in the area that was like just constant parents fighting with one another, parents and coaches, and all this, like, that doesn't help the team. It only hurts, and it affects the performance on the pitch. And I mean, at the end of the day, it's just bullshit. I mean, all of it. It shouldn't happen. Especially, like, there are older players who can, like, just say, I don't care what you have to say. But these younger players, they're trying to prove themselves. And if the entire fan base, or a lot of the fan base, or even just one person says something that's vulgar towards them, something that's unnecessary to say, it just affects you mentally. And because I think Johnson is a good player. I think there's definitely something that he's not the best he could be right now, but I think in a few years he's going to be really, really good. He has the potential. Unlike some of our other youngsters that we've had over the years that have just like turned into nobody. He scored goals already. I mean, like I said, his spatial
as well.
Exactly. His spatial awareness is just he knows where to be. He knows where to be to get the goals. And then he just has lots of room to improve, which is good. And that's what we need.
I just want to chime in there. Sorry, you carry on.
But I think like this vulgar stuff it's ridiculous, and it's sickening. I don't care who you are. You don't say that to anyone, because no one deserves that.
I think he was just not celebrating because he thought it was offside. I think a lot of us, we were confused, weren't we? We were like, what's going on? I don't think that he was not celebrating as a point to the Tottenham fan base.
I just assume that every goal we score is not going to count.
Yeah.
So I don't really.
No, but the thing is,
agreed.
The couple of weeks ago, the comments off. Also, the really bad abuse was actually before the last goal, which he celebrated. So why would you then go and not celebrate the next goal? Do you know what I mean? Yeah, so that's what my thoughts on it, anyway.
Okay, good point. Aaron, thank you so much for phoning in. Just before you go, one last thing. What made you support Tottenham from all the way over there in America?
It was one of those things where it just happened one day. I turned on the TV. This was like years and years and years ago. I was like 13, 14 years old. I turned on the TV, and I saw some of the American players at that time. That's what made me turn it on.
Dempsey and DeAndre Yedlin.
Yeah.
Yeah. and I'm like, oh, this is great. And then I just love the atmosphere. And then ever since then, I've been following them nonstop, passionate. My parents don't understand it too much when it comes to my big support. My dad's been a soccer coach.
Oh, nice.
He coached me my whole life. But my brother and I, on days like today, like, he's a Manchester United fan, and him and I don't get along on weekends. But nice. I wouldn't mind them beating Villa tomorrow.
Because
I'd like to take that top 4 spot.
Yeah, brilliant. Aaron, look, thanks so much for calling in. Yeah. Do call in again next week after the Wolves game. It'd be great to chat to you again, mate. Thanks so much.
Oh, I will.
Take care, Aaron.
Thank you so much.